Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. This is the public hearing and public meeting of the Committee of the Whole regarding bills number 240-179, 240-180, 240-181, 240-182, and resolution number 240-193. Ms. Lawhead, will you please call the roll to take attendance?
Councilmember Squilla. Councilmember Gautier. Councilmember Jones. Councilmember Young. Councilmember Driscoll. Councilmember Lozada. Councilmember Bass. Councilmember Phillips. Councilmember O'Neill. Councilmember Gilmore Richardson. Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Harity. Councilmember Ahmad.
Present.
Councilmember Landau. Councilmember Brooks. Councilmember O'Rourke. Council President Johnson.
Present. Thank you. A quorum of the committee is present, and this hearing is now called to order. Ms. Lawhead, will you please read the title of the bills and resolutions?
Bill number 240179, an ordinance to adopt the operating budget for fiscal year 2025. Bill number 240180, an ordinance amending Chapter 1800 of the Philadelphia Code entitled School Tax Authorization to provide for an increase in the tax that the Board of Education of the School District of Philadelphia is authorized to impose on real estate, and amending Chapter 1300 entitled Real Estate Taxes to establish an equivalent reduction in the tax rate for the city real estate tax and making technical changes, all under certain terms and conditions. Bill number 240181, an ordinance to adopt a fiscal year 2025 capital budget. Bill number 240182, an ordinance to adopt a capital program for the 6 fiscal years 2025 through 2030 inclusive. Resolution number 240193, providing for the approval by the Council of the City of Philadelphia of a revised 5-year financial plan for the City of Philadelphia covering fiscal years 2025 through 2029 and incorporating revisions with respect to fiscal year 2024, which is to be submitted by the mayor to the Pennsylvania Intergovernmental Cooperation Authority pursuant to an intergovernmental cooperation agreement by and between the city and the authority.
Thank you very much. Today we will continue the public hearing of the Committee of the Whole to consider the bills read by the clerk that constitute proposed operating and capital spending measures for fiscal year 2025, a capital program, and a forward-looking capital plan for fiscal year 2025 through fiscal year 2030. This morning we will hear testimony from the public. Before proceeding, I will lay a few ground rules on how we will proceed with public testimony today. We are here today to hear from you about the proposed budget for the City of Philadelphia and School District. To ensure that there is an opportunity for all of you to be heard, certain ground rules have been established as follows. Your testimony should be related to the bills listed on the calendar. Once your name is called, you will then have up to 2 minutes to speak. In order to be fair to all those wishing to speak, I intend to hold faithfully to the 2-minute limit. Once you are asked to begin your testimony, a timer will be started. When there are 30 seconds remaining to your time, you will be reminded of this. Once your allotted time has passed, you will be asked to conclude your remarks. We have a very, very extensively long list, which I believe is great because it shows civic participation in our budget process. I will now ask Ms. Lawhead to please read the name of our first 2 speakers coming up to the table to testify.
Judith Robinson, Michelle Gaffney.
The chair recognizes Councilmember Jeffrey Young.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just as we are listening to the public comment on our city's budget and our school district budget, I just had to make a statement regarding yesterday's budget hearing that we had with the School District of Philadelphia. For the public, I just want to put some things in perspective for you. That our school district's budget is proposed budget is $4.6 billion, which is the same size as the city of Boston's budget combined. And with a similar size school district, Houston, for example, they have almost 200,000 students. Their budget is $2.2 billion, right? So let's put things into perspective when we are commenting on our city's, our school district budget. Just want to express some disappointment in knowing that educational achievement was a third priority for the school district. in that there are some things that the school district has been doing to save money, but unfortunately they are not doing it throughout the entire district because it's too hard to do, essentially, is what the answer that we received. But I want to let the public know that we are here to do the hard work. We're here to do the hard work to change lives, because you look around our city and you look at the increases in youth gun violence, they're in my district, right? And that has a direct correlation on education. And as someone who is raising a black male in this city, myself, I'm sure Council Member Thomas agrees, I'm sure Council President Johnson agrees, I'm sure Councilwoman Kathy Gilmore Richardson agrees, I'm sure our mayor agrees. We are raising black boys in this city. So we have to do the hard work for our children in order to make sure that they're growing up in a much better, safer, and more educated city. So for the public, I just want you all to know that I'm willing to do the hard work to make the necessary changes to turn our school district around. So thank you, Mr. President, for allowing me the time.
You're welcome, Councilmember Jay Young.
And could we also have Yusefa Smith and Charisma Presley make their way?
Ms. Gaffney, just state your name for the record and please begin your testimony.
I believe I'm number 2. I don't know if...
Oh, Judith Robinson, she's not here.
Oh, okay. Good morning, council members. My name is Michelle Gaffney. I'm a Philadelphia homeowner, a voting resident, community educator, and an advocate for adjacent construction safety and neighbors' rights. I'm here to speak on the Licenses and Inspections FY25 budget today. I'd like to express my support for the restructurings of L&I into the divisions of quality of life and inspection, safety, and compliance. I'm also here to ask that both L&I and other connected offices and agencies intersectionally incorporate the following priorities into your FY25 budget strategy. These recommendations are informed by input from fellow advocates in this space and my own observations and experience assisting victims of negligent construction practices. 1, institute a developer's license and hold developers at the top accountable for their track record across all projects and LLCs. 2, hire and incorporate constituent-facing community engagement staff into the quality of life division. 3, actively solicit input and involvement from impacted constituents and advocacy groups who have already been working in this space as you build out the quality of life division. Regarding the developer's license, every business entrepreneur must acquire a license in Philadelphia, and a real estate developer should be no different. L&I needs to be able to revoke the right to buy and develop land in Philadelphia from egregious repeat offenders who foster a race-to-the-bottom construction industry. Therefore, it is crucial that L&I be able to track an individual developer's record from LLC to LLC. Developers must be held accountable for their cumulative history of damages, violations, and repeat offenses, not just against L&I, but other departments that issue violations in the city connected to constructions. Developers who continually make hiring decisions in pursuit of the most possible return on investment at the expense of quality, safety, and expertise, and with the knowledge they'll get away with it 9 times out of 10, and they budget in the fines, will continue to do so if there's no accountability at the very top. Until there's a very real threat of financial and personal consequences to the person making the hiring decisions at the top, developers will continue hiring contractors willing to cut corners and undercut law-abiding Philadelphia businesses. Hiring and prioritizing community engagement staff, we desperately need citywide management and case management structure dedicated to receiving, triaging, and tracking data related to residential construction damage cases. It is unfair and unreasonable to expect a building inspector to take on additional responsibilities outside the scope of their actual role in order to fill this gap in support services at L&I. Hiring for this kind of support can aid the department's public outreach and education goals and maintain open communication lines with residents. I'm almost done, I promise. The city must take responsibility for the complex web of agencies and requirements that intersect with construction damage. A citywide case management structure would save the city hours upon hours of time and labor and taxpayer money and cost across all agencies that touch construction sites. Lastly, again, residents and peer advocacy constituent groups that have already been filling this void for several years have got to be invited to the table to participate in this work. Neighbors deserve rights and a say when construction impacts their quality of life. I'm happy to make myself available for further discussion. Further details related to my testimony can be found online at buildlikeyoulivhere.org.
Thank you very much. What website or online? Go ahead.
Buildlikeyoulivhere.org.
Build like you live here.
Yes, because I believe that developers
I
and
like that.
contractors should build like
Okay.
they live here, like they're going to be your neighbor. And if they did, they would not behave the way that they do
Thank
if
you
they had
very
to be
much.
your neighbor.
I feel the same way about the Philadelphia School District. If we sent our kids there, we probably have like high achievement rates. But thank you very much. I just want to point out something real quick as we call on the next person. I also recommend that you speak with Councilmember Mike Driscoll, who led the L&I Task Force, whenever you get a chance, and also Councilmember Jeffrey J. Young, who recently introduced a bill to hold contractors and developers accountable who are building and those that have destructed individual homes who are adjacent to them. So now they will be held liable
Is that the bill that requires them to put
on the
the
insurance.
neighbor on their
Yes.
insurance?
Yes.
I highly support and endorse that
So I
bill.
think-
It's something we've been fighting for years.
It's J.B. Young.
Homeowners insurance does not cover man-made damage. They will tell you it wasn't a flood or a fire, so you're on your own. It's treated as a civil issue between two private property owners, but the power disparity is far too great. One is a grandma on Social Security who can't afford a lawyer, and the other has an attorney on payroll and has a high-profit mentality and doesn't care. So we need these protections. Thank you very much for proposing that bill. I support it.
Thank you very much. You can just state your name for the record and please begin.
Yusefa Smith.
Go ahead, Ms. Smith.
Good morning. As I said, my name is Yusefa Smith, and I work at Community College of Philadelphia. I'm here today with my coworkers to deliver a bargaining petition that over 600 of my colleagues and I have signed. We began contract negotiations in January of this year. We signed this petition as workers at CCP to show our support for our bargaining proposals. Our proposals are guided by the needs that our members expressed in bargaining surveys, and our elected negotiating teams have been working tirelessly to win them. This petition shows our collective effort to win dignity and respect, to win living wages that address the impact of inflation, to win working conditions that provide the support our students need to succeed, and to win tangible commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion. We are here today in City Hall to call the City of Philadelphia to budget for a $20 million increase in operating funding to CCP so that we can make sure these needs are met and we agree to 3 fair contracts. You'll hear today from faculty and students about why we need $20 million more to serve our students and provide access to high-quality education to Philadelphians. My grandmom, who raised me, proudly graduated from CCP in 1980. She said, and I quote, that CCP was the best move I ever made, and she said it with a little sass. You see, my grandmom has 7 children. Her first child she had at the age of 14. And raising 7 children in Philadelphia was a challenge. Yet at the age of 38, she chose CCP for its affordability and because it provided a pathway to a professional job with medical and retirement benefits. My grandmom's associate degree changed her life, and because it changed her life, it changed mine too. The investment CCP made in her was also an investment in me. If we aspire to truly be Philadelphia's college, to change the lives of all people in Philadelphia, we need greater funding from the city.
Thank you very much.
Next, we have Charisma Presley and Phoebe Doherty. Following them, we'll have Sterling Scott and Robert Jones.
This is what it's all about.
Good
What's your
morning.
name, young lady? Okay,
She's going to let me go first.
it's okay.
Good morning. My name is Charisma, and I'm from the Nicetown, Germantown community, and with the Friends of Philly Aquatics. I thank Councilwoman Bass for connecting with our group and supporting the reopening of the school district-owned Pickett Pool and rebuilding of Marcus Foster Public Pool. From the school district to the mayor's office, I've been hearing about the need to be intentional about prioritizing communities impacted by racial disparities. The school district went one step further and identified 7 neglected zip codes that it planned to target to give better access to the Sydney magnet schools and the resources available at those schools. The majority of those magnet schools have swim teams, yet only one priority zip code has an indoor swimming pool. Here's the thing, with joining a magnet school swim team, you need to know how to swim. Placing the student in a school but denying that student access to the resources like a swim team is not equity, it is borderline cruelty. Welcome to our magnet school where you can watch the other kids participate. The majority of Philadelphians don't have access to public indoor pools year-round. You have to pay for a membership or commute to the only public indoor pool in Philadelphia, which is Lincoln High School in the Northeast. To prioritize someone means to treat them with highest regard and to consider them first. If we are serious about prioritizing communities impacted by racial disparities, and we must commit to rebuilding and reopening all of the district's indoor pools, particularly Marcus Foster and Pickett, which lie squarely inside a cluster of neglected zip codes. If we are serious about one Philadelphia, united city, then we need a collective solution and collaborative funding to address neighborhood disparities and public aquatic access. The prioritized zip codes to continue to fill the inequities and long-standing neglect that impact lifeguard shortages, outdoor pool opening delays, and an increased risk of Black and brown deaths due to drowning. To truly prioritize require us to address these disparities with urgency. In addition, having these facilities operational will allow for the mayor and the district to achieve their year-round access to educational opportunities because renovations would give these facilities multi-purpose use. Dr. King once said, "The time is always right to do what is right," and that time has come for us to bring the school district indoor pools back online, starting with the renovation of Pickett and the rebuilding of Marcus Foster. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Phoebe, and I am from the Nicetown, Germantown community. Good morning, Councilwoman Bass. Thank you for connecting with us and supporting the pools. So, I hate sports. I hate when balls are thrown at me, and I hate any sport that makes me sweat. This is why I love swimming. My mom says sports build character, but I don't want to be a character. I like being Phoebe. Monday and Tuesday were so hot, I asked my mom if we could go swimming, and she said no public pools are open right now or close to our house. I remember Lincoln Pool and said it was open, and she said, "Do you have gas money?" I told her it was hot. She said, "Go stand in front of the fan." Then she said, "Let's go to softball practice." Can someone tell her we're in a heat wave? So after practice, I told her I wanted to jump in the water, and she said the shower is waiting. So I realized 2 things. 1, I need a pool that's public, close to our house, and open year-round. 2, I needed to find me a friend with a membership to the Croc or YMCA. Anyone got a membership to these private pools and looking for a friend? My conclusion is that we need the school district to renovate Pickett Pool and rebuild Marcus Foster so we can go swimming all year round in our community because climate change has winters and springs feeling like summers.
I just wanted to share with you, Phoebe drew the picture of the city of Philadelphia. This is the cluster of neglected zip codes. This is Lincoln, this is Sayre. There are no pools in here to support that cluster.
Thank you, Phoebe, for your leadership and your courage to come and speak your truth in this body of city council. That's what it's all about.
Thank you, City Council Sterling Scott from the Citizen Congress in Nicetown, also block captain for the More Beautiful Committee of Philadelphia Parks and Recreation Department. I'd like to start off to say the purpose of government is to make it easy to do good and evil to be hard. We need these pools, we need the schools funded so they can be a part of our programs and we can be a part of theirs. The Pickett and the Marcus Foster pools will help aid in eliminating a lot of violence in the neighborhood. When we was growing up, it was always swimming, hardly any fighting. That was done outside after everything was over with. But for the most part, we need to have these schools funded, these pools funded, and like I said, we do our part up in nice town to keep the violence every day, keep that down. There's no fighting, nothing going on in our area. And we want to keep it that way, and with the support of having these pools, that will keep all these violence and stuff to a minimum, and we can teach the children how to swim. The seniors can have a place where they can come and exercise and relax, and maintain the juveniles where they can have programs, basketball, football, and things of that nature. Thank you again. Please, I'm gonna be at every meeting, budget meeting, hearing meeting, until we get something done in our section of the city that has been neglected for years. And like I say, again, that'll help alleviate a lot of the violence in the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sterling. My name is Robert D. Jones, Jr. I'm a committee man for the 13th Ward, 9th Division, located in Nicetown. We need these pools open up for these kids. They need to learn how to swim. They need to learn to do right, know right from wrong. And all I know is that we need your help. And I want to thank everybody for coming out here and listening to us. Because these kids, they are very, very smart kids. And they are learning. And they are learning from us. Because we have to back their play up. We got to back their play up. And that's all I got to say. We got to back these kids up. Open these pools up for them. All right?
Thank you, sir.
Next, we have M. Osley Dukin and Carol Rogers, followed by Sherry Cohen and Tanya Rambert.
Good morning. Good morning and happy May Day to all the workers in the room and around the world. My name is M. Osley Dukan. I am an adjunct professor at Community College of Philadelphia. I'm also the part-time and visiting lecturer organizer for AFT Local 2026 at the college. I'm speaking to you today as a working class educator and artist in Philadelphia. For the past 10 years, I have been teaching college students the art, craft, and business of film and video production. During this time, I have also been creating my own art as a filmmaker focused on telling liberatory stories. Lately, I've had the opportunity to bring these worlds together in one of my classes at CCP. And this opportunity has taught me so much. For the past 2 years, my students and I have collaborated on the creation of an episodic series that we have named Class of Tomorrow. In this series, my students have written, produced, and directed episodes that center the stories of fictional students who attend a fictional college in a fictional city. It is a college embedded in a near-future dystopian society that professes to be the best and only chance for its students to achieve a better future for their own lives. Now, this class is not just about the students learning and practicing the skills they will need to work in the entertainment industry. It is also about them envisioning what is possible for their own lives and futures. My students are looking at the real world around them and asking questions about why things are the way they are, and using these questions as source material for their stories. My students are engaging with subjects like the lack of access to fully funded public services in their city, about the need for healthy and safe homes for students, about protecting the rights of workers at the college, and about the effect of policing on students, and about the need for their college to adequately fund the education that the students deserve. What I'm learning from my students is that they want funding that keeps their community safe, healthy, and whole. They want a budget that invests in the most marginalized communities in Philadelphia. And my students know that additional funding can make their futures better because they are literally creating stories about what a future looks like without the funding. So please, tax the rich, bring us a people's budget, and give CCP the $20 million we deserve. And solidarity with the people of Congo, Haiti, Sudan, and Palestine, and the students' encampments. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Carol Rogers and Sherry Cohen, followed by Tanya Rambert and Kelsey Leon, Sonia Sanders, Benita Tillman,
Okay, please state your name for the record and you can proceed with your testimony.
Sure. My name is Chaplain Dr. Benita Tillman. I am a chaplain with the 35th Police District. I also am a committee woman with in the 42nd Ward, 16th District. I'm an educator, I'm a parent, and a citizen of the city. As a public servant, we all are, we're supposed to serve the public. I just turned 39 on Sunday, and as I get older, I become a solutionist. And as a public servant, we solve problems, or we gotta solve solutions. And we need funding for our children. As an educator, I shouldn't have to take money out of my pocket to buy uniforms or buy water bottles because the classroom is hot, buy supplies, things of that nature. As a parent of a child that's disabled, I shouldn't be told by the school that they can't provide the services for my son so he can have the best quality of education because they just don't have the staffing. We asked for $100 million, 3%. Teachers need training, staff need training, all staff need training to do their job the best way they can and to provide the supports that the kids need, especially the ones that have special needs. So that's all staff. I don't care if they work in the gym, I don't care if they're the cleaning staff, I don't care if they serve the kids, I don't care if you're a teacher or a nurse. We also need more nurses and therapists and things of that nature. It's disheartening to me as a parent, as a citizen, because our children, we are responsible for our children. They come up behind us, and we have to teach them. And they're nuts, and they're not properly taught and educated. How can they fulfill our seats? So that's our job, that's our duty. So as I conclude, I just need you to remember, we are public servants. We serve the public. We need to serve our kids. We're asking for 3%, $100 million. And that's not even a lot of money, but it's a start. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Nate House, Anja Richards, Marissa Johnson,
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Sure, my name, am I going first?
Hi, my name is Anja Richards.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Nate House, and I'm the full-time faculty co-chair of the Faculty and Staff Federation of Community College of Philadelphia. I'm also a professor of mass media and English and proud to say that I've been at the college for 15 years. We're here today to ask for a $20 million increase to our operating budgets to support students, bring half our underpaid classified workers up to a livable wage, and fund the proposals we currently have on the bargaining table that seek to make the city's college the beacon of hope it has been for so many students, but needs to be for so many more. And today I'm filled with hope because I see so many people in this room who, like us, believe in the promise of a just Philadelphia for all citizens. Thank you for all you've done to make this dream a reality. But as we all know, that dream of justice for all Philadelphians doesn't yet exist. While the Pew State of the City report points to the current economic health of the city, it also highlights a disturbing wealth inequality along racial lines. The majority of our students are students of color. With additional funding, we can help close that gap and work towards the reality of economic justice our students deserve. All of us at CCP are proud of our successes. Hazim Hardiman, Rhodes Scholar, who brilliantly debated issues in my mass media and society class, Former White House Social Secretary Deisha Dyer, who just yesterday promoted her new book on Studio 2 at WHYY, or another former student of mine, Andreas Copes, is an audio producer. But the students that haunt me the most are the ones who don't make it. The geniuses who disappear halfway through the semester because the challenges become too great to overcome. Homeless students, hungry students, students who can't afford reliable childcare, students who need transportation, students who need mental health services, students who need smaller class sizes, more advisors, more counselors, tutors, and librarians. They are smart, beautiful people, and it breaks my heart every day when I see that empty seat. Can I go on? Or is that 3 minutes?
Please conclude your testimony.
All right, thanks. So we're asking for a $20 million increase to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help those students stay in those seats, graduate, and turn their dreams into a reality. As always, the question, one that our students ask on a daily basis, is how can we afford it? Well, here's one answer. For decades, the city of Philadelphia has repeatedly cut taxes for corporations, real estate developers, and the rich. In a region with 15 Fortune 500 companies, 10 billionaires, and the biggest concentration of millionaires in the state, it's time to tax the rich who benefit from all city services so that we can fully fund not just CCP, but all essential city services so that when our time at CCP, City Council, the Mayor's office is done, we can proudly say that Philadelphia is no longer America's poorest big city, but the beacon of hope we all knew it could be. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anya Richards. I am here on behalf of the residents of the 19124 zip code. I am president of Overington Park. I'm an undergraduate student studying public service and leadership at the University of Villanova, and I'm a social worker. I am here to ask the city to give consideration to funding parks and creating a budget for park programming. As a resident of the 19124 zip code and park president, I have personally dealt with needles in the park, trying to maintain the park and increase community engagement in our area. The park has 4 dead trees, graffitied benches, and a lack of park maintenance such as trash collection and outdated supplies. We need to invest in programming for communities, specifically kids. We need to invest in our parks, our schools, and sustainable projects. Our park won the Conservancy grant with the terms being $1,000 reimbursement or a movie night, and the park does not have $1,000 to even start with to obtain the reimbursement. We are hoping to obtain the activity grant to do more, but there is little grant access for park groups. Most park members are not mobile and cannot do the jobs of Parks and Rec. As a current college student, studying public service at Villanova University, it is disheartening to watch our city not provide communities with pathways to sustainability. With new leadership within our city, I'm asking that your next moves as council to be intentional and to be act on behalf of the communities you claim to represent. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Marissa Johnson, Charlie Allison. Those two will be followed by Margaret Lostein and Gloria Presley.
Okay, please state your name for the record and proceed with your
Hi.
testimony.
My name is Marissa Johnson Valenzuela, and I am one of very few Latina faculty at Community College of Philadelphia. And we have 18% Latinx students now. So it's one of the things I'm invested in. We also have majority Black students, and while we have many more Black faculty, we are far short of where we should be to serve our diverse student body. But yeah, I also want to thank everybody for being here. While I respect that not all city council members can be at all hearings, the last time I testified, it was one Republican and one person asleep. I'll leave it at that. So I do appreciate it. It was very depressing, and I'm excited to see city council engaging more with CCP and caring more. And I know there's a lot of things you juggle, so I mean no disrespect, but again, it's nice to see everybody here. Adjusted for inflation, full-time, tenure faculty like myself, starting salary is 58% less than it was in 1980. More diverse, we now have more diverse faculty, about 25% of faculty, and yet 50% less pay. Our student body is also more diverse than it was in 1980, and again, 50% less pay for full-time tenure-track faculty. We don't usually like to talk about ourselves much because our adjunct colleagues and our staff make so much less. So, we worked on raising, a big thing we worked on in the union is raising the minimum wage at the college, because over 50 people do not make a living wage as full-time staff. I never looked at the MIT calculator for myself. I'm a single mother of one kid. I don't make a living wage for a mom and a kid. I've been at CCP for 13 years. I'm tenured. I was promoted to an associate professor. And I don't make a living wage, which would be $85. I'm not even close if I work overtime. So I want you to understand we don't have pensions. We are not milking it. We do this work because we care deeply about our students, and we need to be supported across the board. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Charlie Allison. I will be brief. I'm an adjunct teacher at the Philadelphia Community College. If you hold on to one phrase from this, make it this one: teaching conditions are learning conditions. Let me tell you about some of the learning conditions I've personally seen in my time there. My students are often hungry. You can't learn when your stomach is rumbling. We need a free meals program open to all at CCP. My students sometimes had to miss class because they were the only ones who could look after a small child. You can't learn if you're watching over another human being. Free childcare is essential to both students and worker health at CCP. We need free childcare at CCP for workers and students. Many of my students missed class because they couldn't afford to ride SEPTA to class. CCP needs to institute a free public transport system with SEPTA so that students and workers can get to class as easily as possible. This is very much in the realm of reality. Many Philadelphia institutions have already done this through JAUNT and other similar programs. The heat and air conditioning didn't work in my room and in many other classrooms, meaning that my students either shivered or sweated and there wasn't a single damn thing I could do about it. You can't learn when you're uncomfortable. In light of all these unsustainable learning conditions, it's a small miracle that our students have done as well as they have. The $20 million we are asking for is a first step towards remedying these chronic problems of hunger, childcare, transport, and on-campus infrastructure. The wealth to fund this sort of public education exists. Tax the rich, give us a people's budget, and I would clarify that the additional funding for public education is not an ask, it is a necessity.
Again, please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is Gloria Presley. Good morning, City Council, ladies and gentlemen. As we're gathered here today, I am filled with profound sense of gratitude and hope. For too long, the pools in our community have been silent, their water stagnated. But today we stand at the dawn of a new era. The reopening of the Pickett Pool and the rebuilding of Marcus Foster Pool marks a turning point for our city, a symbol of progress and possibility. As a mother of 6, I have witnessed firsthand the formative power of swimming. Through swimming, my children have learned not just a skill, but a tool to survive. My children have found confidence, strength, and resilience. Sadly, so many children will not have the same opportunity that was afforded to me and mine. So I'm not here to brag about my children. I'm here to advocate for our children. Swimming is more than just a recreation activity. It is a gateway to opportunity. By providing our children with access to swim lessons, we are equipping them with the skills they need to stay safe in the water, to pursue employment, opportunities, and to find a lane and chart a course towards a brighter future. But the impact of these pools extend far beyond the water edges. They are a symbol of community, of unity, of possibility. They are a place where friendship are forged, where dreams are born, where futures are shaped. As we reopen Pickett and rebuild Marcus Foster Pool, we are not just restoring a structure, but revitalizing a spirit. So let us not see these pools as mere facilities, but as a beacon of hope in our city. Let us come together to comfort, to commit ourselves to ensuring that every child in Philadelphia have the opportunity to learn how to swim. For in the waters of these pools lies the promise of a better tomorrow, a tomorrow where every child can dive into their dreams with confidence, knowing that they have the skills they need to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Mark Clincy and Martiza Garidi, followed by Alyssa Weinfertner and Sonia Rosen.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Maritza Gertie. Good morning, my name is Maritza Gertie, and I'm a Philadelphia parent that is an active voter and community member. I'm also constituent of Cindy Bass's 8th District. I have 5 children, 3 of which have gone through the Philadelphia School District, and 2 that are currently 2nd graders at Mary McLeod Bethune Elementary. I also have 2 grandchildren, one of which will be starting kindergarten this year. I'm here today not to request, but to demand that the resources that are currently being allocated to our district be increased. The current amount is not enough. A 1% increase is not enough. Our children deserve a larger piece of that pie. They are our leaders, caretakers, and keep this in mind, future voters. I am imploring all of you that have made promises to your constituents to make education an important part of your agenda to follow through with it. Money for education should not be a fight every year. It should not be another empty promise year after year or term after term. Our children need access to better now. It should not be a matter of what socioeconomic status of a school community or the families of a particular school be to determine how much money a school gets. Families want a cleaner, greener, and safer Philadelphia, but families also want for all of our children to have access to a better education. 3% would equate to better paid and trained educators, better paid school support staff, better and high quality materials, books, and facilities that would allow our children to thrive, better access to mental health and social emotional supports, access to things in their language, no importa el idioma. It shouldn't only be the magnet schools or the schools in more affluent neighborhoods that get the most. Schools in all parts of our city must get more. For those of you that have followed through with your promise, I thank you. For those of you that are new to this is your time to make your mark and take a stand for our children now. Do not allow another generation of our children to get less. They all deserve better regardless of their zip code. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sonia Rosen. I'm a Philly homeowner, and I gladly pay property taxes. I'm also a parent of an SDP student, as well as a teacher educator at the University of Pennsylvania. I've come in support of the proposal to increase the share of property taxes going to schools from 55% to 58%. In a time when safety is such a concern, we need to remind ourselves that an educated city is a safe city. A city where children's needs are met is a healthy city. In thinking about what to say here today, I asked my son, a 6th grader at Science Leadership Academy at Bieber. Nadim is a curious, athletic 12-year-old who loves learning, has a lot of good friends, and will drop everything anytime to play soccer. He and many other 6th grade boys play soccer every day at recess on a schoolyard at surface that's nothing but cracked, uneven concrete slabs with a ball held together by a thread, using a tiny net that the assistant principal scrounged up for them with his own resources. Soccer is one of the things that keeps them interested and focused on their schoolwork. It keeps them moving so they can come into their overcrowded classes and be as attentive and ready to learn as possible. Nadim likes his teachers and has learned a lot at Bieber. He is smart as a whip, too, so yesterday I asked him what he wanted me to say to you at this testimony. At first, he told me to remind you that we need the district to serve better lunches. I laughed and said this was likely not going to be a priority. As I pushed him to think further, it became clear that there were things he didn't even consider asking for because the bare bones norm he had gotten used to let him think that they were an impossibility. Classes with fewer than 30 kids, real art and music courses, a school library with a librarian, a schoolyard that is more than a crumbling, desolate concrete landscape. When he realized that more money for his school would mean more teachers, smaller classes, and a schoolyard that is built for children, His eyes lit up at the idea that his classes might not be severely overcrowded, and that he and his friends could one day play soccer with decent equipment in a space where they won't get injured if they fall. What a basic ask. Can you imagine a student in any of our suburban school districts around Philadelphia saying something like this? What does it say about our city that we prioritize giving more and more money to an already overfunded police force and other ridiculous, and developers, sorry, I know I'm not supposed to say that, over the basic educational needs of Philadelphia's beautiful, brilliant children? I've pointed out the limits to my son's imagination about what could be possible in school, but really it's we as adults whose imagination is limited. Here we are in a city lucky to have thousands of children with boundless potential for contributing to our city and society. I invite you to imagine what is possible if we give them the love and resources they deserve. A vote for 58% is a vote for the present and future of our Philadelphia children.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Next up, we have Ganiyu Adelkunle and Stephanie Blake, followed by Donna Cooper and Melissa Toby.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Yes, hi, my name is Alyssa Weinfertner. I'm a social worker and director at Valley Youth House for emergency services programs supporting youth that experience homelessness. And I'm here today to talk about funding for students experiencing homelessness. Since January of 2023, we saw a historic investment in addressing students experiencing homelessness through COVID American Rescue Plan dollars. These crucial dollars increase the Education for Children and Youth Experiencing Homelessness Office's capacity to address the needs of these students and families. Currently, that office receives no Philadelphia County funding or state funding. It's only currently funded through federal funding under the McKinney-Vento Act. As these funds expire, however, it's paramount to secure a commitment to replace them to sustain the progress that's been made in developing a comprehensive approach to support these students and enhance the capacity to fully understand the extent and impact of this homelessness on our students. Over 8,000 students were identified as experiencing homelessness in the year of 2021 to 2022. Experts say, we estimate it's well over 10,000. Part of this is due to the school's limited capacity to identify and support these students. These funds go to expanding that capacity to be able to do just that. In Philly, these funds were used to embark on a collaborative between community nonprofit agencies, the ECHIA office, and over 60 Philadelphia public schools. Funding was used for program coordinators to be put in the highest need schools, a school district liaison, the first time ever, between the Office of Homeless Services and the school district, and 3 programs run by community-based nonprofits. These initiatives helped address the limited capacities of school counselors and support staffs and establish trust with young people. At Valley Youth House, we focus on unaccompanied minors and youth 14 to 21. We hear stories of them coming through our doors at age 18 when they know they can access housing services. We hear stories of youth sleeping behind dumpsters and still going to school. A friend sneaking them in to their parents' house at night so they can shower and show up so that nobody notices. This student graduated. A lot of them do not. About 40% of the youth that we see that come through our doors that are 18 to 24 who are seeking housing and experiencing literal homelessness in shelters, fleeing violence, sleeping on the streets, have not completed their high school diploma or GED. I think that means my time's up. I'll just add as well that if we fail to invest in these programs, it's a severe equity issue. About 78% of these students experiencing homelessness are Black or African American, 40% are LGBTQ, 32% are pregnant or parenting. We run the risk of exacerbating racial disparities within our community if we don't invest in these students as early as possible. Thank you.
Greetings, I'm Dr. Stephanie Blake. I work with Children First as the Early Childhood Racial Equity Coordinator, and currently I'm working on tackling the issues of suspension and expulsion in early childhood education. I also reside in Northeast Philadelphia, where I reside in Councilmember O'Neill's district. I'm here to testify on Bill 240179 and why it's imperative that City Council expands PHL pre-K seats. Today, I would like to emphasize the significance of providing young individuals with an early advantage in life, which commences with preschool education.
The efficacy of early childhood education in shaping a child's development and future achievements have been consistently demonstrated. By directing resources towards high-quality preschool programs, we're not only providing children with the essential tools to succeed academically, but also nurturing their social and emotional growth. The report Children's Learning and Development Benefits from High-Quality Early Learning Education emphasizes, released August of last year, emphasized that investing in early childhood education yields long-term advantages, including increased graduation rates, reduced crime rates, and improved health outcomes. Black and brown children are often underrepresented in high-quality child care programs, highlighting the need to level the playing field and close the achievement gap. Early childhood education can disrupt poverty and inequality by providing essential skills for academic success. Ensuring fair access to preschool programs can contribute to a more just society, enabling families to pursue employment and economic growth. So who wouldn't want to invest in preschool? As a community, we must prioritize and support early childhood education to ensure that all children have an equal opportunity to thrive. Supporting for early childhood education not only a sensible fiscal decision, but also a moral obligation to guarantee a more promising future for every child. So it's my honor to be able to advocate for the well-being and development of our city's youngest residents. Children are our future, and it's crucial that we invest in their growth and success from the very beginning. Please increase PHL pre-K seats in this year's budget. We need 250 more seats so that 250 more children and families can feel the benefits of high-quality pre-K. Thank you for your attention and support.
Good morning. I'm Donna Cooper with Children First. And yesterday, each of you asked pointed questions to the superintendent, and thank you for doing so. For 11 years, I've been fighting to get our schools funded, and this council has been serious and steadfast in its support for the district. And we at Children First appreciate what you've done. And your questions yesterday exposed the untenable gaps in what the charter and traditional school district students face, robbing far too many of our students and our city of hope and opportunity. And I'm here to ask you today to do more. Even if the legislature were to fully fund Governor Shapiro's school funding proposal, and we hope they do, the Philadelphia School District would still be $1.1 billion short of what any reasonable person would say is needed to give every student a quality education. I handed out a piece of evidence to that effect. Look at the template. This template is used by the school district to construct school budgets. 1 teacher to 30 students in lower grades, unacceptable. 1 teacher to 33 students in middle grades. We know middle grade students. That's a recipe for failure. 1 counselor for every 650 students. How can a student with questions get them answered in class? How can a student reeling from violence get support to return to learning? Or Councilman Phillips, if they are bullied, how can they find safety? And how can a student who wants to excel get help finding a pathway? Councilmember Brooks asked yesterday about how our school salaries compare with other districts, and Councilmember Ahmad asked for ways to reduce the teacher-to-student ratios. Councilmembers Young, Bass, and President Johnson asked why our schools are struggling academically. To answer your question directly, school funding shortfall forces our salaries to be lower than any schools in the region and our conditions for teachers to be worse. No wonder the district has more than 1,400 vacancies now. There is no curricular improvement that can compensate for classes that are too large or teachers who are active looking to exit the system. May I say one last sentence, Councilwoman? The mayor took a step forward proposing to increase the property tax transfer to 56%. I am here to ask you today, as a taxpayer in this city, on behalf of the taxpayers on my board and our staff, and the parents with us today, to increase that transfer to 58% at least. The city has, in this proposed budget, a $500,000 fund balance. We decry the $14 billion fund balance in Harrisburg and say, why can't more be used to fund the schools? I ask the same of Philadelphia City Council. Please increase the transfer to the Philadelphia schools. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Melissa Toby and Jasmine Taylor. Cheryl Amber Edmondson and Teresa Carr. Daryl Bundridge.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
My name is Teresa Carr. Should I start my testimony? All right. Good morning, Council President and Council members. My name is Teresa Carr, and I am proudly serving as a student success coach with City Year Philadelphia. Thank you for the opportunity to share the work that City Year undertakes every day to serve students throughout the city. I serve at the academies at Roxborough High School in Councilmember Curtis Jones's district. I primarily work with 9th grade students, a critical juncture for them. Upon entering high school, students have more autonomy and responsibility for their education than ever before. By building supportive mentoring relationships with students, our team gives them the tools to make their right decisions for their future. One of the strengths of City Year's model is our consistency and our immersion in the school. My team is in the classrooms, but we're also in the cafeteria and the hallways. I've gotten to know so many students who aren't in my classes through our after-school programs, initiatives like book giveaways, or by bringing games to the lunchroom. Uno is always the first to go, just for your information. Our mentorship goes hand in hand with academic support. During literacy tutoring, students build comprehension and writing skills, but simultaneously, we're building students' internal sense of motivation and resilience. For example, if I'm helping a student complete missing work one-on-one, we'll talk through the obstacles they faced, the strengths they bring to the table, and celebrate their successes. To grow, students need to try and persist, even if they miss the mark at first. That's how our impact outlasts our year of service. Over months, tutoring and mentoring the same students creates unique opportunities to discover student needs and personalize interventions. I've worked with students on setting goals, attending class regularly and on time, showing students how missing assignments affect their grades, de-escalating conflict, restoring teacher and peer relationships. The list goes on. It works because we know the students and they trust us. I chose to serve with City Year after finishing an undergraduate degree in political science. In light of widening learning gaps during the pandemic, serving in education seemed like the most tangible way to make the world a more equitable place. It's been so rewarding to see my students grow over the year that I wanted to continue that impact by teaching Philly students. I accepted a position to teach English at Warren G. Harding Middle School next year, and I wouldn't be there without City Year. Thank you so much for your time and for your continued support of City Year Philadelphia.
Greetings, Council. I'm Cheryl Amber Edmondson, a Southwest Philly native, currently residing down the bottom, as we like to call it, in the 3rd Councilmanic District. I'm here supporting Budget Bill number 240179 for a property tax share allocation increase from 55% to 58% to generate $100 million more in funding. I'm a former teacher, always educator, and grants manager at the Fund for the School District of Philadelphia. I want to talk a little bit about money. I grew up poor, and there's 3 things that you learn about money very early on when you're growing up poor. 1, that it doesn't grow on trees. 2, that it matters. And 3, that if you don't have any, you don't. Now imagine a child who exits poverty's front yard in the morning just to walk 5 blocks down the street to enter poverty's schoolyard. It is a uniquely visceral and psychological experience, and we should not be puzzled by the fruit that grows when those with unmet needs find ways to satiate themselves by any means necessary. And we wonder why we have some of the issues we do, pointing the finger, that same finger that pulls the trigger when we don't invest in what we say we value. In the same way that investments return to profit, the lack thereof comes back to haunt us, and we must reckon with that. Children are not the future, they are the now. And what we do in this very moment with our power matters. It sends a very clear and direct message to our children who are watching. Anything else says, no, you don't deserve. In my work, I've seen amazing things happen by investing in children, by funding public education. This isn't about politics, power, or individual people. This is about children. It should never, ever be about anything else. Children first, children now. The only real question I have for you, Council, is what side of the coin do you want to be on? Thank you.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Darrell Bundridge. Thank you, members of council, for hearing my testimony regarding Bill 240179 and for your continued support of City Year. I am Darrell Bundridge, the proud executive director of City Year Philadelphia, an education nonprofit that for 26 years has been committed to supporting students, families, and communities citywide. This year, our 118 AmeriCorps members served more than 8,000 students in 13 schools across Philly, and we are having an impact. 85% of all students who have worked on literacy with City Year have maintained a grade of C or better. We're especially proud of our 8th graders. 100% of them who started with a D or F in their math assessments have ended with a C or better. An impressive 94% of principals tell us they're satisfied or highly satisfied with their City Year partnerships, and the same tell us that of their core members in terms of sense of belonging, their priorities aligning with ours, and supporting student engagement. Our core members engaged to prepare for our city's workforce. 75% of our core members are educators, healthcare workers, lawyers, social workers, and nonprofit professionals, and they stay in Philly. 29% of our alumni are educators and 14% are teachers, and that's growing. But 118 is not enough. We need to attract more core members to serve more students who deserve our supports. More core members will help build our city's teacher pipeline as educators and other cross-sector professionals, like the alum and student coach you've met. We've already invested in more to increase the core stipend, higher recruitment, and media spend for awareness. We were developing our partnership with the school district to develop 10th and 11th grade internships as a pathways to graduation provider. And so we're asking for your support by increasing our FY25 allotment to $1.25 million, which will restore funding the city has invested in City Year last year to support the district's ability to retain our support in at least 13 schools, and expand our efforts to attract more young people to serve in our schools and become the next civically engaged leaders in our city's workforce. Thank you.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Hi, my name is Jasmine Taylor. I am here to speak about IEPs for the children, that something needs to be changed, and definitely that the teachers be trained to work with handle a situation with children that are with autism children. They needs to be fixed of being aggressively. Why I say it's important, because I went through it being in them classes that teachers were very aggressive with children with autism. Sorry, that's my son. But being why this is important to me, because I was in a classroom with a teacher that attacked me for a phone. Being very aggressive and being very rude, that our autism children should be safe in schools. You are want to take our children to be safe. They need to be safe in school, all children. And I feel like they need to be trained for all children for gun shooting. That needs to be trained for children, because if that child is in the hallway, where can they go? They need to be trained to know where they can go to be safe. If something goes wrong, who they can go to, who they can contact, that they can be safe, that all children. I know teachers need to do that for students in the classroom, but where can our children go if they are in the hallways or going to the bathroom and don't know what's going on? They need to be safe, and something needs to be changed for autism children and all, that they be safe in all situations. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Never apologize for your child. He hears his mother's voice. Moms get the job done. We thank you for your testimony. Please proceed to state your name for the record.
Good morning. My name is Melissa Toby. I am the mom of Jasmine, so I definitely coincide with her with speaking about how the children were dealt with. I definitely can coincide with saying that a lot of those children that were in those classrooms, when it came time for them for graduation, to even do electives, they only were kind of boxed into certain things. They could either volunteer at the Goodwill or go to the supermarket and help bag in somebody's bags. It really wasn't a wide variety of things, and I definitely feel that they should open up the horizon for those children to have those aspects of other considerations to do different things. Besides that, what I wanted to speak of, representing with Children First, I'm here to also support the increase of allocations of the property tax share going to schools for 55% to 58%, I'm sorry, and for $1 million. I'm sorry, $100 million, I apologize.
Thank
Being
you. Could you
nervous.
please restate your name for the record?
Melissa Toby.
Thank you. And thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Christina Holliday. And I serve as the 12th grade school counselor at Alney High School and council member Cindy Bass District. I stand before you today not only as an advocate for the City Year program, but also as a living testament to its transformative power. My journey with City Year began 14 years ago when I served as a corps member at Overbrook High School, committing myself to supporting and uplifting the students of Philadelphia. Inspired by the impact I witnessed firsthand, I continued my journey with City Year, serving as a team leader for 2 additional years at Fells High School. During this time, I had the privilege of working closely with dedicated corps members, witnessing the profound difference they made in the lives of our city's youth. City Year not only brought me to the vibrant city of Philadelphia, but also ignited my passion for education and gave me the love of my life, my husband, Troy. It was through my experiences as a corps member and team leader that I discovered my calling to serve in the field of education. In Philadelphia, where educational disparities persist, City Year serves as a vital partner in bridging the gap and fostering a more equitable learning environment. Their presence not only improves academic outcomes, but also cultivates a sense of belonging, community within our schools. City Year corps members actively contribute to school improvement and positive school connections through various means. City Year has played an integral role in fostering pride and community, particularly during transitional periods, such as when Alney shifted from charter to a public high school. During this time of change, City Year provided invaluable support, helping to unite students, faculty, and staff under a shared sense of purpose and identity. Experiential learning is a staple of City Year, fostering hands-on experiences that enrich students' educational journeys. This year, the City Year team at Alney led more than 20 seniors in a meaningful service learning project, providing them with an opportunity to engage with their community while fulfilling the 10-hour service requirement needed for Act 158. Through this project, students gained valuable skills, developed a deeper understanding of civic responsibility, are on track to graduate, and made a tangible impact on the world around them. As we reflect on the impact of City Year in our city, let us recognize the invaluable contributions of its core members, who embody the spirit of service and dedication. Their commitment to Philadelphia's youth is a testament to the transformative power of mentorship and the ripple effect it creates in our communities. In closing, I urge the City Council to continue supporting initiatives like City Year that invest in the future of our youth and strengthen the fabric of our city. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to providing every student in Philadelphia with the resources and support they need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Samia Evans Bowling and Ashley Rosario, followed by Aniela Ray and Margaret DeSanto.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Hi, yes, good morning. My name is Samia Evans Bowling, and I am a member of the 4th District. As a parent, and as a community member, I have worked tirelessly throughout the years on numerous community projects and engagement with various organizations. Council member, Mr. Anthony Phillips, I especially want to thank you for your work in the educational sector personally. I see SLA Beaver and CCP represented here, so shout out to you guys. As a parent of School District of Philadelphia children, as well as someone who has a vast history of working in a variety of schools throughout the district, and as a very active member of my community, I am here today as a parent partner with the Children's First Coalition to plead with you, the members of City Council, to increase the budget to the additional 3%. To the $100 million. As a parent, the question is, what would this 3% increase look like to me? Well, we can fund the school libraries that have largely disappeared throughout the years. We can see the positive advantage with the restored libraries as we look at the pre- and post-pandemic testing scores. We can update our deteriorating schools. We can update our deteriorating HVAC systems. We can use these funds to create an environment conducive for our children to learning. We are urging you, members of City Council, to increase the budget. Otherwise, we'll continue to see the violence that is plaguing our youth throughout the city and these heartbreaking stories that we continue to see play out nightly on the news. Thank you for your time. A vote now will save our children in the future. Again, I am Samia Evans Bowling, representing for Children First and for all children in the city of Philadelphia. Thank you, members of City Council, for your time.
Good morning. My name is Zainella Ray. To the esteemed members of City Council, I am a proud West Philadelphia native and reside in the 3rd Councilmanic District. Today, I'm asking you all to vote in a bold proposal. And I'm in coalition with the mosaic of advocates, community members, educators, parents, and system-level leaders to increase the property tax share allocation of schools from 55% to 58%. This adjustment would infuse nearly $100 million more into the School District of Philadelphia, a crucial deposit towards our children's future. As a director of parent advocacy and engagement at Children First and a board member of Lift Every Voice Philly and the Philadelphia Orchard Project and a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, I care deeply about the future of this city and have worked tirelessly to ensure that our children, youth, and families and communities that hail from are not just invested in, but are deeply cared for and empowered. However, my most proudest identities lie in being a public school graduate of the School District of Philadelphia. Shout out to Academy at Palumbo. And a big sister to 3 younger sisters, 2 of which who attend Science Leadership Academy Bieber, one of whom will attend New York University on a full ride this fall, and one who graduated from Kappa, who is on track to become a registered nurse. While my sisters and I are separated by some years in our age, our experiences within the School District of Philadelphia are mirrored, as we both have experienced the ills of what happens when you don't invest in the future of the city's children. Our shared experiences reveal the dire consequences of underfunded schools, absent nurses and librarians, and overcrowded classrooms, shared sports teams with neighboring schools, fundraising for basic educational necessities, early dismissals due to inadequate ventilation, and insufficient support for first-generation college students. Reflected on the graduation in 2011, which was earmarked by a dark period in Philadelphia's education system caused by severe budget cuts, also known as the corporate tax cuts, I witnessed firsthand the devastating impact on students' futures with my younger siblings and the students who I work with at Upward Bound as a tutor mentor. We cannot afford to repeat history. With the American Rescue Plan funds dwindling, now is time for bold action. A proposal of 55% to 56% in Mayor Parker's proposed budget is inadequate. Anything short of 58% is a moral failure. Denying our children rightful opportunities, making you all complicit in injustice. I believe in the genius of our students and their brilliance, and I hope you do too.
Thank you for your testimony.
Is there a Margaret DeSanto and Makia Elizabeth? Darlene Morris, Sarah Morningstar, Jeff Williamson, Zachariah Claypool White,
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Thank you. My name is Zachariah Claypool White. I am an adjunct in the English department at the Community College of Philadelphia. It's finals week at CCP, And to be honest, all of us would much rather be on campus. We have papers and essays to read, exams to grade, key facilities and services to maintain and provide so that our student body can be successful. But that, in fact, is why we are here. Because in order for our students to be successful, they need and they are owed a fully funded CCP. It is not a novel or even original idea to say that a budget is a moral document, but it is. And a city budget that does not include a fully funded CCP is a moral failure. Worse, it's a failure that is borne by our students. This is only my second semester at CCP, but in that short time, I've had students drop out of my classes because they couldn't afford a laptop and, due to underfunding, the college was unable to provide them a loaner. I've had students miss key classes because they couldn't afford the SEPTA fares. I've had brilliant students who, through no fault of their own, needed intensive tutoring outside of class, and because of underfunding, the college would not provide that. I currently teach a class on writing research papers. Many of my students have never, in fact, written a formal research paper before. As you can imagine, this means I need to work individually with each student and read through multiple drafts of multiple papers. There are 24 students in my class. In a class of that size, I cannot give the detailed feedback that my students deserve. We need smaller class sizes. Not only that, but because of the rate at which adjuncts are paid, I have to work other jobs to support myself and my loved ones. This means that I have even less time for my students. These should not be issues. If we are truly the College of Philadelphia, then every Philadelphian should be able to receive a quality education at our institution. And that is why the Federation is demanding $20 million from the city budget to meet the needs of our students and finally give them the education and the community college that they deserve. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sarah Morningstar. Good morning. I am honored to speak with you today as a citizen of Philadelphia, a proud parent to a toddler about to enter PHL pre-K, an advocate for out-of-school time programs and year-round after-school enrichment, and in my role as executive director at local nonprofit organization ASAP After School Activities Partnerships. Since 2002, ASAP has provided more than 100,000 Philadelphia youth with after-school and summer enrichment programs, keeping our kids safe and engaged during the out-of-school hours. These free, high-quality programs are vital, particularly in our neighborhoods that are disproportionately impacted by Philadelphia's gun violence epidemic. We not only provide enrichment activities, but provide mentoring and connection to kids in our community while helping working families across the city. Most of our students know us for our signature field trips, competitions, and culminating events for our chess, debate, drama, and Scrabble clubs. Beyond year-round engagement, these joyful events create a diverse community of students and caring adults with similar interests where kids feel like they belong. And the majority of our students come back year after year, continuing to mentor their peers and even joining ASAP's board of directors as alumni. Students like Brandon, who in his second year as a member of Northeast High School's ASAP Chess Club, was an innocent bystander at the 5-point shooting in early March. Despite this very traumatic experience and his long road to a full recovery after being shot multiple times, Brandon was determined to compete with his teammates at the National Chess Championships in early April. And with ASAP's support, I'm proud to say that he traveled to Baltimore for the tournament just a few weeks ago. He is well on his way to recovery. Brandon is just one of our 4,828 Philly kids that ASAP has served this year in 319 after-school and summer clubs at 169 different sites, including 98 district schools, 26 charter schools, 10 libraries, and 8 rec centers, touching nearly every corner of the city. We've engaged thousands of students at more than 70 field trips, competitions, and culminating events this year, and we're not done yet. These programs are vital to our children's success in school and beyond, but the federal grant funding that has allowed for the district's expanded support of after-school enrichment and out-of-school time programming over the past 2 years expires this fall. This means that 8,000 of our city's kids stand to lose access to programs like ASAP's, leaving hundreds of Philadelphia parents and families to scramble to find other aftercare options for their children, options that may be expensive. Cutting these programs would negatively impact our kids and hinder the district's progress as it looks to accelerate academic achievement in all our schools. What is the plan for continuing these programs for our children? Where is the funding coming from? We need to invest in our children. Thank you for your support.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have William Marmol and Duran Alderando Morales.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Good morning. My name is William Marmol, but my students call me Mr. William. I am both a CCP student and also a school faculty member. So I feel kind of offended neither side has offered me a shirt. But I'd like to start my speech by referencing Councilman Young's beginning statements on how Philadelphia school funding is so unequal relative to Boston. And I will say that is because in Boston, the minimum wage is $15 an hour. I will say in Boston, the poverty rate is 15% relative to Philadelphia, where it's 25%. I will say in Boston, children have options. Children's parents have disposable income to be able to afford the programs for their children. While in Philadelphia, we have a chronic poverty rate that goes back centuries. And until we decide to fix that poverty rate, we will need to continue to fund our schools because that is the only source of resource so many of our students have. Now I'd like to talk about as a student for the Community College of Philadelphia. This staff is amazing. They deserve so much more than they have. They know that, I know that, and yet they stay. And I have so much respect to them for that. And when it comes to the students at the Community College of Philadelphia, they are students, but they are not students first. And what I mean by that is when you go to the Community College of Philadelphia, you see students, but they are mothers, they are fathers, they are small business owners. When we provide them public transportation via SEPTA, that is not just a way to school. That is a way to drop their kids off before work. That is a way to work. And if someone cannot get to work, that is someone who can't work. We need to keep these processes going, keep funding these systems. The community colleges are only asking for $20 million. That will go so far relative to what we already have. Let's keep the fight going. Last week, I had the privilege of shadowing Councilman Mike Driscoll, and I had the privilege of being able to sit in on a city council hearing. And I saw so much that day. I'll be quick, I'm sorry. I saw so much that day that City Hall so clearly and so passionately cares about education in Philadelphia. And I know regardless of what happens today, that care is not gonna leave. Not this city council and not from Philadelphia. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for your testimony. I was just commenting that I remember you being with us in the caucus room now that you stated that. So thank you for joining us again this week. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
My name is Duran Alderando Morales. I am a student of public health at the Community College of Philadelphia. As a committed student at the Community College of Philadelphia, I am a strong advocate for increased funding for our institution. It is essential to recognize that the majority of the school's budget is funded by students like myself. The ideal funding distribution would see a third of the budget coming from the city, state, and from student tuition. However, at present, student tuition bears the brunt of the budgetary burden. This heavy reliance on student tuition puts significant pressure on students to cover the school's financial needs, often causing financial strain and limiting access to educational opportunities for those from low-income backgrounds. Increased funding is not just about improving academic problems, it's about investing in the future of our community and economy. Funding would support the development of innovative initiatives such as daycare services and affordable transportation, addressing critical needs for students. Lack of access to affordable transportation disproportionately affects students from low-income backgrounds, hindering their ability to succeed academically and perpetuating cycles of poverty. Enhanced academic programs and resources made possible by increased funding will directly benefit students. These improvements are not just about providing a better education. They are about preparing students for success in an increasingly competitive job market. By investing in CCP, we are investing in the future workforce of our city, ensuring that our community remains strong and prosperous. From a public health perspective, these equity issues can have significant impacts on the health and well-being of students and their families. Lack of access to affordable transportation and childcare services can lead to increased stress, financial strain, and limited access to educational opportunities. These challenges can sustain a cycle of poverty and contribute to health disparities, ultimately influencing the overall health of the community. As a student who relies on public transportation, I can attest to the significant impact that affordable and reliable bus services would have on my life. Currently, the lack of affordable transportation options makes it challenging for me to attend classes regularly, participate in extracurricular activities, and fully engage in campus life. Solving the bus issue would not only alleviate the financial strain on transportation costs, but also enable me to focus more on my academic studies and participate more actively in campus activities. Furthermore, investing in CCP is an investment in the broader community. Is it okay for me to continue?
Please conclude your testimony.
Our school plays a crucial role in fostering a diverse and inclusive environment that contributes to the social and economic growth of our city. Our institution has the potential to provide exceptional support and services to students and staff, but this requires adequate funding. By investing in CCP, we can ensure that all students have the resources and support they need to succeed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, and thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Avery Lucas and Aromosel Onokua, followed by Eurista Hernandez Orsini and Ian McGinnis, Francis Scales and Max Hassel, Ben Moore, and Melissa Suarez. Is there an Edward Hansen and a Horace Clouden?
Please state your name for the record. It's good to see you again.
Yeah,
we just
happy
saw
to be
you at
here.
our town hall with Councilmember Gaudier. So state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Yeah, good day, Council. My name is Edward Hansen. I'm an educator at the Philadelphia Public Education System, but the kids call me Mr. Teddy. So I'm a classroom assistant in the 3rd to 5th grade autism support class at Marian Anderson Neighborhood Academy in South Philadelphia. I love my job, and I feel like me and my fellow educators have done a great job with a pretty challenging class this year, a challenge that certainly could have been eased by better funding. I appreciate Mayor Parker's proposal to raise the share of property taxes from 55% to 56%. We can use it, but really it's not enough. The current state of the curriculum does not meet our disabled population where they are at. One of my colleagues who has worked as a classroom assistant for over 30 years told me that she's been teaching out of the same language development books for the entire time of her career. She just retired. That's ridiculous. Additionally, the digital platforms that the district has invested in do not accommodate the spectrum of disabilities our kids have. For example, my one-to-one, an 8-year-old by the name of Drew, cannot meaningfully engage with most of this curriculum as he is considered to be low functioning in terms of the autism spectrum. He appears nonverbal and his academic outcomes are limited. Despite that, he manages to endear himself to everybody he encounters, which means to me that there is a lot more that can be done with his language comprehension. Since working with him, his verbalization has improved, but frankly, I'm improvising. I'm like 90% of that improvement is based off of just me winging it. More could be done for kids like Drew. I believe if we can do anything for our disabled population, we should provide them with the tools to communicate with others so that we can understand the nuanced and varied ways that they are experiencing the world. And given that caring for our disabled population so often falls into the hands of the public education system, we should do our best to uplift that system in a way that allows our educators to rise to the occasion of that care. Another barrier I've found in providing the best care for my students is in my colleagues' pay. A classroom assistant's starting salary under the current contract is $9,000 under the poverty line. $22,000 is not enough to live on, and as a result, we lose good staff. At the beginning of this year, our classroom was fully staffed with a very meaningful and well-meaning and effective and cohesive, caring team of educators. But by winter break, we lost most of them because of pay. So, you know, I'm the only one that's really been there all year, and that's beyond my contractual responsibilities, but I love my job, as I said, so I'm fine to do it. But I believe that personally, the emotional whiplash, yeah, I'll wrap up in a sec. Personally, the emotional whiplash of teaching one of my other kids in my class, Edgar, math in the day, and then having to go home and do the math on if I can afford 3 meals for every day this week is exhausting. And I'm both housing and food insecure. I work multiple side gigs just to keep doing this job because I like doing it and I like helping my kids. But the district needs the support to lift up its educators out of poverty and provide us a livable wage. Additionally, you need to give it the support it needs to provide our students with the tools to achieve the quality of life that they deserve, which is why I'm asking the council to consider, instead of 56%, raising that share to 58%, which would give us an additional $100 million. And just real quick, I appreciate Councilman Young's context of the $4.6 billion operating budget, but I feel like that number means nothing to us, most of the people in this room at the very least, since I don't see it in my pay, I don't see it in my coworkers' pay, and clearly nobody else is seeing it meaningfully affect their communities. So thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you for your testimony. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Okay. Hello, my name is Horace Clouden. This little notice to the mayor. You know, the schools have been failing before COVID and continue to fail in the first 2 years of this current administration. When you talk about special projects, you know, people want to take kudos for things that are going on at schools. They should look at the overall performance of the schools. You know, we still have schools that have 0% in performance. So don't pat yourself on the back for saying, well, maybe the school has a new sound system at $2 million and then the school is producing students that can't read or write on grade level. You know, when you talk about creating green spaces, there is a high school with a 30-panel solar array on the roof, but it was never turned on. A high school with a geothermal plant, you know, for clean energy. You know, we don't know what's going on with that, if it's really truly efficient enough. Then you have a high school with a green certification which has been removed because of overcrowding to the tune of 700 children. You know, here, pools. You know, people testified about pools. We shouldn't have to beg to put 5 pools back online, and 3 of them have diving wells. You know, people don't understand the value of a diving well in a pool. You know, and then for the district to say we have 3,500, have a 3,500 staff, facility staff, with additional $8 million in maintenance support, you know, already approved. Tell the district just to open up all the pools now. You know, you have a superintendent that can tell you the school district tells you the school district ranking across the state and the country, but can't tell you what each school is ranked in the city of Philadelphia. You now have a new board where 4 of the 9 have heard all your concerns. It's nothing new. But the response from that board was, what do you expect us to do? So here you have 4 of that continuing on to the new. Now, the best solution for the 197,000 students in this city is to bring back junior high schools with pre-CTE. You know, here again, there's no checks and balances. They go from K to 8, then they got to find their fit in high school. By the time they find their fit, they're just totally lost. This accelerated Philly plan is moving too slow. We don't need another 5-year plan. What we need is movement right now. Again, put me on the school board. Look at my application, and then look at my qualifications. You know, we ain't got time to catch the 5 up to speed on issues When I've been sitting through this stuff for 10 years, again, do what you feel is right, and just start getting the results that you want. Not just somebody coming up defending a failing school district. You have heard that in all your meetings when you talk to the school district of Philadelphia. They just keep defending a failing school district. We don't need any more of that. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony.
Next, we have Leah Clouden and Marna Gale Clouden.
Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
You want to go first? Me? Okay. Leah Clouden. Good morning. So, I'm not going to say don't give them the money, but if you do, or when you do, make sure you have oversight. For years, I've watched this school district pick and choose who will have and who will go without. It has gotten so bad that it's practically trapping children into slavery. They can't read, write, and do math not only on grade level, but seniors are graduating on a level that the 12 to 14 years attending an educational institution wouldn't even afford them the ability to feed themselves without government assistance. During COVID, we all bear witness to the fact that the majority of the teachers do not live in our city. We've discovered that 80% are white teachers, 70% of that 80% are white women. Black children make up 49%, 24% is Latin or Hispanic, 11% are white, 8% are Asian. Why isn't our teacher base reflective of this? 90% of the money collected goes to salaries. Most districts use 80% to 85%. We ask that the 4 pools for 212 or 214 schools, we ask that you either demand or tell the school district to get them back online. They have a swimming pool that they were using that the students weren't using, but they allow other entities to come in and have tournaments in the swimming pools. Go check it out. They've stripped all schools because of COVID or a little prior. So they stripped a lot of schools of the sports. It's like 14 sports in the entire district. You have the Northeast or the Upper Northeast with all the sports. You have everybody else in the entire city going without. You have schools that have 1 sport, 2 sports, 0 sports, but they have 14 sports on the books. They also have swimming, which was once a curriculum. When I went to school back in the 90s, we had swimming. We walked to William Penn, which the school is no longer here, and we had swimming class. So there's a curriculum. It can happen again. Everything that we've had to allow our residents to be productive citizens, we got at school. This is not rocket science. You should not have to graduate, do 12 to 14 years and have nothing to show for it. And we see that in the street. We see the killing. We know where it's coming from. It's coming from school. Go find out what's going on in the schools. The teachers are not coming to work. They're still being paid. You got substitutes filling in, and everybody knows you do not learn with a substitute teacher. We all know that. Go check out the schools. And no principal should have full autonomy. You have to take that away, because everybody is doing whatever, and the teachers aren't showing up, and everything is being hidden. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record and proceed with your testimony.
Gail Clouden. That was my husband that spoke previously. He is the engineer that almost died from carbon monoxide poisoning as a result of working in a boiler room at a school. It took 6 years for him to get his pay after being out sick for a year. I was told 2 weeks before it happened that he was one of the best in the district. He was a relief engineer that was requested. He was in over 100 schools. He knows these buildings inside and out. I didn't think I was going to talk about him, but I have to, because you need to know that when we keep saying oversight, 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 this man who was just diagnosed a few months ago with cancer, still 40 hours a week, he is researching the school district. One day he had really, really bad pain, and he woke up and he said to me, and I'm not telling you about him for sympathy. He don't need no sympathy. He's strong. It was told to me by my husband, we need a level playing field. That's all that was on his mind. In the worst pain that he had ever been in, that was what was on his mind. He lives for this, seriously. Not that he doesn't love us, but he keeps talking about the 20,000 children that will be affected. We've seen, this child is 47. 30 years ago, I sat as a superintendent of the network. I had just put them in public school from private school. I sat, and I heard a man tell me, when I asked him if this system that you have in now, that they were going to do, the middle school, high school model, do you have a time period where if it doesn't work, you'll go back to what we have now, which was kindergarten to 6th grade, right? He told me my question was so ludicrous, he wasn't going to answer. On that day, I became the activist that I am, because we have records showing that from that period to now, there's been failure. We have lost children in between. K to 8, our children are too grown in 8th grade to be in a school with kindergartners. The kindergartners are too young to be with the 8th graders. With all that's going on, we have to change that. It's not complicated. My husband will tell you, over a summer, the whole school district was transformed. Over one summer. Why can't we change this back? Even if we do a model, like he's saying 20 schools. You have models all over the district. 10 children, 10 schools. I'm just saying, listen to what he's saying. I had a whole lot more to say, but I need to say that, and thank you for listening. Peace and love.
Thank you. Thank you for your testimony and for your service.
Is there anyone else here that has signed up for testimony whose name has not been called or is still waiting for their name to be called? Okay.
We will now recess until 1:30.